Part 35 of Folk Trees Could Talk. Thank you once again for reading along with me or tuning in each week to Folk Trees Could Talk. Occasionally I've been doing other blogs along with this one to break it up a bit, so I'm grateful if you have stuck in here with me. This was a trial run on doing video blogs, and of course I picked the longest book that I've written to do it. However, I've enjoyed it and really hope that you have as well. We pick up in Chapter 17, The Tyrant. Chapter 17, The Tyrant. Mr. Hodges, still glaring into Amelia's eyes, realized that she meant exactly what she was telling him. He cleared his throat once more and began to walk away. "Stay here, and I will direct the staff to prepare another suite immediately." Oh, and Mr. Hodges, it had better be top-notch, clean and updated with a bright, clean decor. It must also have a window or windows that will let real light into the room. Honestly, sir, I'm expecting a freaking honeymoon suite, Amelia demanded in light of her obvious victory as Mr. Hodges stomped away down the long hallway until he disappeared. Amelia took a deep breath and tried to calm herself down before she went back into the room with her parents. She trembled as she had truly confronted evil itself. Finally, she walked back into the horrible room. With a gentle smile, she proceeded to usher her parents out of the room into the hallway. "Mr. Hodges is making something better available for you," Amelia stated. He realized how dismal this room was and decided that he would give you a fresher, more updated suite, Amelia stated rather calmly, even though she was still trembling inside. She then got in the middle of her parents and began escorting them slowly to the front of the Glenview from where they had been ever since they both were admitted into Glenview. As she walked along beside them, a fear of more retaliation came over her. What did Mr. Hodges plan to do to her parents now? Mr. Hodges, still furious over the confrontation with Amelia, rounded the corner to the nurse's station where Nurse Wanda stood doing paperwork. He meandered slowly up to her and with cold and calculating eyes whispered, "Nurse Wanda, I regret to inform you that Glenview's residential home for the elderly no longer has need of your services. You are dismissed immediately. You may collect your belongings and leave post-haste, please. I will mail to you the remainder of your compensation owed. Thank you." Mr. Hodges simply smirked as he knew that Nurse Wanda was the only one who could expose any of the plans that he had for Mr. and Mrs. Tyler. He felt rather proud of himself that there was one less person that would spoil his plans for the rebellious Tyler couple. He also felt that she probably had already warned Mrs. Steele about his threats to treat Henry with medicines to control him. But if there is no witness to the crime, then he could quite possibly even get by with murder. He smiled as he imagined himself and Amelia in a boxing ring. He chuckled as he felt that he just dealt a hard blow to Mrs. Steele by firing Nurse Smith. It may not be the knockout blow, but it was enough to let her know who she stepped into the ring with, he thought. "Mr. Hodges, you can't be serious," Nurse Wanda stated. "Surely you can't be serious about this. I've been here at Glenview for nigh on 30 years. Where else is there for me to go to in Mason Creek? Please, Mr. Hodges, I beg of you, don't do this." "There's no refuting the dismissal, Mrs. Smith. Please go now before I have you physically removed," Mr. Hodges ordered. "Well, have me physically removed then. I weigh about 300 pounds, so you better bring in your best to try it, sir. I'm going to have my say, Mr. Hodges. I am not leaving here less than I get to say goodbye to all my patients. Some I've had for 10, 15 years, maybe even longer," Nurse Wanda said as she stood her ground. "Mrs. Smith, I've already got the sheriff coming to remove you. Now, do you really want this to become ugly?" Mr. Hodges continued to whisper. "Ugly? Who is the ugly one here, Mr. Hodges? Yes, I'm going to fuss and yell because you are a devil who likes to inflict pain and torment. Don't think I have not seen the goings-on around here. I've kept quiet because I thought at first I was just imagining things. But then you told me about Mr. Tyler and what you intended on doing to him. Yes, sir, you exposed your evil self to me. After I got to thinking about what you told me that you were going to do to Mr. Tyler, I began thinking about other patients that were doing so much better when all of a sudden they just have a relapse. What caused that relapse, Mr. Hodges? It was you that was behind those dear patients' relapses. I promise you, Mr. Hodges, I will no longer be quiet," Nurse Wanda shouted as she came out around the nurse's station where she was going to go see some of her patients, including Henry. All of a sudden the doors opened, and in walked Sheriff Eugene Perkins. He left his sheriff's car running with siren blaring and lights on in the front entrance. He had intended on putting Nurse Wanda in the car very quickly if she didn't leave on her own. Eugene was all red-faced when walking through the door for Nurse Wanda, for like Miss Amelia, Nurse Wanda was also a long-time family friend to his parents. He never liked arrested friends, but the town where he was the sheriff was small. Unfortunately for Eugene, everybody knew everybody. Just about everyone he arrested was at least an acquaintance, if not a close friend to either Sheriff Eugene or his parents. When Nurse Wanda saw Sheriff Eugene walk in, she stopped her rampage for a brief time, long enough to scold him like she would one of her own children. When he was little, she babysat him many times, so she felt like she had the right. Seriously, Eugene, you are here to arrest me? What would your mama and daddy say? I put powder on your behind, boy. You've not got anything that I haven't already seen. Why you want to go and get all mixed up with Mr. Hodges for? He's going down, Eugene. He has medicated the patients here to keep them here longer and to extract more money out of them. The good Lord only knows what other horrible things he's done to these poor, helpless folks. He is an evil man, Eugene. I hate to see you go down with him because you're all power-hungry. Boy, you've been raised better than this. I hate to think of the shame that you're bringing to your poor mama. Bless her poor little heart. Just when Nurse Wanda had begun speaking, Amelia and her parents popped around a corner. They, too, heard all of the commotion. However, it did not take Amelia long to figure out what had happened. When she looked over at Mr. Hodges, he wore a smirk of victory on his face. It was sickening to Amelia. She wasn't going to stand and do nothing. Arrest her, Sheriff Perkins. Do your job, Mr. Hodges ordered as Nurse Wanda's shouts had alerted many of the residents and their guests to the commotion that she was raising. Pretty soon the hallway filled with the spectators to watch and to listen to what was going to happen next. It was a real show for many of the residents. Thank you once again for tuning in or read along with me. It is my hope that you have been enjoying my romance suspense novel, Folk Truth Could Talk, for it has been my pleasure to share it with you. As always, I would love to hear from you. I want to thank all of you that have begun following my WordPress blogs. Please continue to tune in as we are moving right along through the book. If you are interested in obtaining your own copy of Folk Truth Could Talk or any of my other books, please visit my Amazon author page here. Also, if you are new to my video blogs and would like to catch up on the story from the beginning, please check out the archives in this blog or simply subscribe to my YouTube videos as they are numbered and in order. I am also a weekly contributor to the Lakeview Times. All of my videos are published each week at www.lakeviewtimes.com.